Here we go. In talking with you both and in preparing for this day, two themes emerged. First, this day marks the creation of your own family. Second, each and every person in this audience has been a part of this journey that culminates in your union, which we celebrate today. I'd like to begin with a statement about love. This comes from an unknown author and characterizes true love, or what the writer calls real love. Quote, "They say love is blind. I disagree. Infatuation is blind. Love is all seeing and accepting. Love is seeing the flaws and blemishes and accepting them. Love is accepting the bad habits and mannerisms and working around them. Love is recognizing all the fears and insecurities and knowing your role is to comfort. Love is working through all the challenges and painful times. Infatuation is fragile and will shatter when life is not perfect. Love is strong and it strengthens because it is real." Unquote. It is this kind of love that we all bear witness here today. I've known Katie all her life. I've only known Jadan for between 5 and 6 years. But I too have stood where they stand today. And with my unique perspective, I have what some might even call wisdom to impart. With that, I offer you some words of wisdom. Words like patience, kindness, respect, support, and nature all come to mind. A desire to grow together, to teach each other, to comfort one another, to live with purpose. These actions and others will become the foundation of this newly formed family. The two of you are lucky to have found each other and to begin this journey together. And now for the first reading, Rachel Gutman will share an excerpt from The Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams.
"What is real?" asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side near the nursery fender before Nana came to tidy the room. "Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle?" "Real isn't how you are made," said the skin horse. "It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real." "Does it hurt?" asked the rabbit. "Sometimes," said the skin horse, for he was always truthful. "When you are real, you don't mind being hurt." "Does it happen all at once, like being wound up?" he asked, "or bit by bit?" "It doesn't happen all at once," said the skin horse. "You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't often happen to people who break easily, or have sharp edges, or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off. Your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints, and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand."
Thank you, Rachel. Today, we celebrate the end of part of your lives. We also come together to witness the unification of two families joined by love, the beginning of something greater. The great philosopher Jack Johnson said it well, quote, we've got everything we need right here, and everything we need is enough, end quote. Before we get into the more formal part of the ceremony, I want to take a few moments to address you both and share from my heart just a bit. Katie, I'll start with you. Katie, you embody beauty and strength, both of which are complemented nicely by your tender side and kind heart. I see how you are with Jadan. It's a genuine interaction that you can't manufacture. You have a way about you that is inviting and warm. Jadan is a privileged man to be with you and you with him. I charge you with two things. First, Believe in him. I don't have to tell you what a great man Jaden is. You know better than anyone. He is connected with you in a way that no one else will ever see. With that comes vulnerability, but also trust. You can inspire this man to do great things. You already have. Be kind to his heart, and he will continue to flourish as a husband and father. No, okay. It'll ruin my makeup. Second, I also charge you to affirm him. Your words carry great power and influence. Use them to build him up. Remind him that he is loved often, especially when he forgets, because he will. Especially when the outside world tells him otherwise, because it will. And especially when you feel otherwise, because you will. Do you accept these charges?
I do.
Jaden. Jaden. You are a good man. A good man. With a great heart and unparalleled character. You exemplify integrity. In one word, solid. Props to Calissa and Perry. Jaden is a living example that nice guys can finish first. There is a catch though, Jaden. To whom much is given, much is expected. I charge you to leverage who you are in two ways. First, continue to woo your bride. Remember meeting Katie years ago? Remember that feeling? This is not the finish line. You've completed mile 1 of a marathon. Assuming you're indeed at mile 1, the math says you'll live to a ripe old age of 114. That's a lot of time for wooing. A card, a post-it note, a picture from today. You know what to do. You know how to do it. Do it. You know what I'm saying? Second, I charge you to appreciate her. A demanding job, busy social life, exercise, maybe a pet or kids in the future. You have a lot on your plate, my friend. Don't get trapped by routine. You love her, show her. She's beautiful, tell her. She's the best thing that ever happened to you, appreciate her. Think small, think often. My man Yoda had this one right. Do or do not. There is no try. Do you accept these charges?
I do.
We've come now to the part of the ceremony that Katie and Jaden want to hear the most today. The words that take them across the threshold to being married. A marriage is a voluntary and full commitment. It is made in the deepest sense to the exclusion of all others, and it is entered into with the desire and hope that it will last for life. Katie, do you come here freely and without reservation to give yourself to Jaden in marriage? If so, answer, I do.
I do.
Jaden, do you come here freely and without reservation to give yourself to Katie in marriage? If so, answer, I do.
I do.
Katie and Jaden, having heard that this is your intention to be married to each other, I now ask you to declare your marriage vows. Katie, we'll begin with you. Do you need a copy? Okay.
Jaden. Oh, okay. Close.
So they can hear.
That makes sense. Just over 6.5 years ago, I sat down at a table for a 3-minute conversation with a random man. I didn't know it at the time. That short conversation would start the greatest adventure of my life. Now I stand in front of that same man, vowing to journey through the rest of my life with him. In the last 6.5 years, we've learned a lot about each other, but the most important lesson that I have learned is that change is a constant in relationships and in life. We are not the people we were when we first met. We are not the people we were 2 years ago when you proposed, and we are not the people we will be in 10, 20, or even 50 years. So, as we begin the rest of our lives together, I vow to you the following. I promise to see the best in you when you are only seeing the worst. I promise to actively listen to you, to to value your opinion, and to strive to understand your perspective. I promise to be by your side through good times and through bad. I promise to change and grow with you throughout the years. I promise to never stop making you laugh, especially when you are taking yourself too seriously. I promise to you my whole heart, my whole life, and my whole self. I promise to respect and encourage you during times of hope and times of doubt. And most importantly, I promise to love you through all the moments we are able to share and beyond. All this and more I vow to you today. I am so glad that I sat at the same table as you 6 years ago, because no one else understands me like you do. And there is no one else who I would want to build a life with. I cannot wait to see what our future holds. I love you more than words can say.
And now, Jaden.
Maybe I do this again. All right, okay. Just over 6.5 years ago, I went to an event called speed dating, where I didn't know what I was looking for, but what I found would change my life forever. I met a woman who was unbelievably intelligent, beautiful, strong, funny, thoughtful, and endlessly adorable. One night during our first year together, you took me under Beaumont Tower, and when we kissed at midnight, I knew I would marry you someday. You're not just the love of my life, you are my best friend. And every day is a better one when I'm with you. In the vastness of this universe, in the immensity of time, I count myself unbelievably lucky that I could share my brief existence with you. I know that you are someone truly special, and that in 100 billion galaxies, I would not find another. I wish that we could spend an entire eon together, because a single lifetime could never be enough. I make these vows to you. I promise to continue to work and build our new life together. I promise to always tell you how beautiful you are, even when you don't believe me. I promise to listen to all your stories and rants. I promise to talk out our disagreements and to never go to bed angry. I promise to always be the worst sleeper and always the excessive cuddler. I promise to try and be the man you deserve. I promise to always be the biggest dork you've ever met. And I promise to love you with all my heart for all the time we have together.
Good. Katie,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
please take Jaden's hand
This one.
and repeat after me. I give you this ring
I give you this ring
as a symbol of my love
as a symbol of my love
and unity of our life,
and unity of our life,
and as I promise
and as I promise
of my devotion and faith
of my devotion and faith,
in us forever.
and as forever.
I give you all that I am
I give you all that I am
and ever hope to be.
and ever hope to be.
Okay. Jaden, take Katie's hand.
Careful, there's two.
Yeah, it's a process.
Jaden, repeat after me. I give you this ring
I give you this ring
as a symbol of my love
as a symbol of my love
and unity of our life,
and unity of our life,
and as a promise
and as I promise
of my devotion and faith
of my devotion and faith
in us forever.
in us forever.
I give you all that I am
I give you all that I am
and ever hope to be.
and never hope to be.
For the second reading, Sally Norman and Alice Clark, Jaden's grandmas, will read The Art of Marriage by Wilfred A. Peterson.
Oh, God, yeah. Ready again.
Happiness in marriage is not something that just happens.
A good marriage must be created.
In the art of marriage, the little things are the big things.
It is never being too old to hold hands.
It is remembering to say, I love you, at least once a day.
It is never going to sleep angry.
It is at no time taking the other for granted. The courtship should not end with the honeymoon. It should continue through all the years.
It is having a mutual sense of value and common objectives.
It is standing together, facing the world.
It is forming a circle of love that gathers in the whole family.
It is doing things for each other, not in the attitude of duty or sacrifice, but in a spirit of joy.
It is speaking words of appreciation and demonstrating gratitude in thoughtful ways.
It is not looking for perfection in each other.
It is cultivating flexibility, patience, understanding, and a sense of humor.
It is having the capacity to forgive and to forget.
It is giving each other an atmosphere in which each can grow.
It is finding room for the things of the Spirit.
It is a common search for the good and the beautiful.
It is establishing a relationship in which the independence is equal. Dependence is mutual, and the obligation is reciprocal.
It is not only marrying the right partner, it is being the right partner. It is discovering what marriage can be at its best.
Thank you, Sally and Alice. Today, two families come together representing this new unification. However, these two families came together over a year ago for their official ceremony. After the ceremony, the couple went to Beaumont Tower on the MSU campus. Legend has it that if a couple kisses under the tower, they will be together forever. Beaumont Tower is where they had their first kiss and where Jadan proposed. To keep the legend alive and unite the two ceremonies, a piece of ivy from Beaumont Tower, clipped from the first ceremony, will be watered by both the bride and the groom. Katie will water the ivy with water from her family's lake house, and Jadan will water the ivy with water from the creek in front of his parents' house. The ivy representing their new marriage, and the water representing all that is required for their love to grow. At the beginning of the ceremony, I started with 3 words. Here we go. Here, I charge you to be present in your marriage. This may prove difficult as it is easy to think about a simpler time in the past or to yearn for a milestone in the future. But whenever possible, be present. We doesn't include this be. This day is about your union and the commitment you are making to each other. Each of us in this audience has shared in part of your journey, and we are all here to revel in your love. The we that matters now is the two of you. Friends are important. Family is important. Kids will be important. But don't let life get in the way of the we that this audience celebrates today. Go. You ready? You ready?
I hope so.
Your marriage starts right now. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Jaden, you may kiss your bride. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to introduce to you Mr. and Mrs. Jaden Norman.
Hi everybody, I'm Chad. For those of you who don't know how Jay and I met, we met at a company in Madison, Wisconsin called PPD. And I started working there first, and I sat next to this guy. His name was Jordan. And he was just kind of a mess, and he didn't stick around very long. And then shortly after, I got a note on that desk was left, this seat reserved for Jaden. And I was like, oh boy, that's like the same name almost. And so I was almost expecting that it was going to be this Jordan guy, but with like a disguise. I thought maybe he'd have like one of those dollar store things where it's like you have like the fake eyebrows and the glasses and the nose and the mustache. So either way, I was just totally expecting whoever would show up was going to be a disaster, right? And on his first day, Jaden walks in here, and he has this big smile on his face, this enthusiasm, and he's all excited. He's got his tie on, and I'm just like, what a nerd. Now that I know him quite well, I can say I was kind of right. But yeah, I was totally expecting a disaster, and what I wasn't expecting is that I would meet basically the best friend that like any guy could ever wish for. And so we had a lot of good times there, a lot of tough times too. It wasn't like an easy place to work at, and just sitting next to Jaden, like, you know, he just has that great attitude where, you know, he just smiles like that all the time. And so there were a lot of rough days that he made a lot better, I have to say. We liked to, you know, we just sat around talking about stuff, beer and food and beer. But every once in a while, even though he already has just that like really like bright and energetic and fun personality, every once in a while it would be like over the top when we were talking, right? It was just this look of pure joy and excitement. And that was always when he was talking about Katie. And I forgot to mention that at this time, Katie was still living in Michigan, and so it was just Jaden and Madison there. And so it was just amazing to see, like, I didn't know I didn't know Katie at all, hadn't met her yet, and I still knew that, like, they were just right for each other. Just the way that Jaden would talk about her, I knew he was just so in love, and it was just amazing. And so I think we should all really appreciate that we get to be a part of this really special night. But we should also be appreciative of that we get to be a part of Jaden and Katie's lives. And that's just a really special treasure that all of us, get to enjoy. And so with that, I'd like to propose a toast to Jaden and Katie. 1 year of marriage down, a lifetime to go.
Katie is a woman who knows what she wants. As I'm sure many of you here have also experienced, when Katie has an idea about how something is going to happen, that is the way that it happens. You'll see I'm reading this off of a piece of paper. I was not planning on reading it off of my phone, but that was also decided for me by Ms. Norman during one of our many pre-wedding discussions of her specifications for the wedding day. And Katie, I even did you one better. It's handwritten. But these things are important to Katie. And when she sets her mind to something big or small, she makes it happen. During high school, Katie and I played soccer together. And I remember one day during our junior year, we were doing our mandatory mile-long slog around the soccer field. And we were talking about boys. And I remember saying that I thought Freddie might ask me to prom. I wasn't sure what the timing would be like, et cetera, et cetera. Katie said she had her complete life plan figured out, and it didn't matter who she went to prom with. She was going to college to become an English teacher or a journalist, and she was meeting her future husband there. She would get married at 24, and she would absolutely be changing her last name, regardless of what the man's name was. She would have 2 to 3 kids, and on it went. I made fun of her at the time, because who at the ripe old age of 16 knows what they want their life plan to be, relationship-wise, career-wise, and otherwise? But Katie did. It turns out the only thing that could foil Katie's plans was an unprecedented global pandemic. So she's getting married formally at 25, but technically at 24 also last year, so we're still on track. So fast forward to our sophomore year of college, when Katie, some high school friends, and I went up to the Cox family lake house in Michigan. Katie mentioned that she was seeing a boy, and that he was going to be there, and we were going to get to meet him. In between making s'mores and tubing on the lake, I remember pulling Katie aside and saying, "Jaden is wonderful, he seems perfect, but does he know about your life plan?" And she told me that he did, and that he was on board with it. And from there on out, I think we all knew we would be seeing a lot more of Jaden. And what a good match she picked. When I first moved to Madison after college, I asked if I could crash on their couch for the week before my own apartment was ready to be moved in. And I was expecting just crashing on the couch, but when I arrived, Jaden had inflated the largest air mattress I've seen in my entire life. It literally took up their entire living room for me to be comfortable while I was staying with them. He also was totally unfazed by me doing craft projects for my new apartment on their carpeted living room floor. And for years afterward, in Madison, we've spent a lot of time together. They've welcomed me into their apartment numerous times with the epic combination of Jaden cooking, Katie cleaning up afterwards, and me reading the Martha Stewart wedding Bible out loud. But they work together beautifully as a couple, and it's been a pleasure and a joy to witness that and to watch your relationship develop. So after meeting at a speed dating event, both knowing what they were looking for, Katie and Jaden do give us tremendous reason to celebrate today. I'm so happy for you that you've found something and achieved something that you've truly wanted for so long. So here's to Katie and Jaden, to each of you finding your person, and to the beginning of a lifetime of love and happiness together. Cheers.
Hello, friends and family. I'm Isabel.
I'm Charlotte.
And we're Katie's bridesmaids, but most importantly, we're her little sisters.
Since Katie is the oldest sister, she has always done everything first. This means she was the first to introduce us to her prom date, Spock, whoop, and to bring a boy to the tailgate for the first time, and she introduced us to her long-term boyfriend at the time.
When we first met Jaden, I was 15.
I was 13.
So Katie was very brave for introducing her boyfriend to two moody and ruthless teenage girls.
Unfortunately, I will never go through that. But when we first met Jaden, we had both come up with a nickname right away that has stuck ever since. Some of you may know this nickname, and it is Dreidel. We aren't exactly sure how we got there, but Jaden took that nickname and went with it, and to this day isn't surprised when we get him some Dreidel paraphernalia for Christmas.
But the nickname was only the start of the story of the weekend we met Jaden. So to bond with Dreidel, we did what Coxes do best. We played a friendly game. And our game, of course, as Michiganders, was Euchre!
The teams were obvious. Me and Isabel against Jaden and Katie. We were a duo filled with smack talk, but also strategy. And as the game started, we obviously took the lead.
No surprise there. With our continuous victories came continuous trash talk and a perfect situation to use our new nickname.
Through it all, Jaden took the slander like a champ, though. Even got the lead to dwindle down with support from his very, very, very competitive partner. However, the game had to come to an end, and yes, we were victorious, but the game was not all about winning. Kind of. It also taught us a lot about Jaden.
We learned that Jaden has a huge heart and an even bigger heart for Katie and is willing to put up with anyone and anything to make her happy. Jaden willingly put up with two teenage girls' constant jokes and humor because he loved Katie even then.
Throughout the years, Jaden has continuously shown his compassion for Katie and even supported her when she gets scary and pulls out her claws. He not only manages to support her during this, when she gets those crazy eyes on, but he also finds a way to calm her down.
So let's all raise a glass to Katie and Jaden. May you have a lifetime full of competitiveness and board games, but also a lifetime of supporting your teammate and loving them even after you lose to your sister. Mazel tov!
I forgot about the crying when I said I would start talking. Okay. Jaden and I would like to take a moment to share a few words of gratitude. First and foremost, we would like to thank all of you for joining us to celebrate our marriage today. In particular, those of you who have joined us from out of state and traveled a very long distance to be here. You making these journeys means the world to us.
Getting to today's celebration has been longer than we anticipated when we got engaged, to say the least. We would like to extend our gratitude to all the scientists and healthcare workers, some of whom are here today, actually, and who made this gathering possible.
We would also like to thank our parents, whose support today and every day is invaluable. We would not be here without them. Also, thank you to Uncle Dave, today's master of ceremonies, and the best officiant we could have asked for.
Thank you as well to our wedding. Thank you as well to our wedding party for sticking with us longer than we had planned and being by our sides the whole time.
Also, a quick shout out to the Michigan State University University Activities Board. If they had not had a speed dating event on January 24th, 2015, none of us would be here now. Speed racing. Finally, a thank you to my wonderful husband, Jaden. I've married you twice now, and I would marry you again in a heartbeat, though I'm not sure about planning another wedding. You are my favorite person, and I can't wait to spend the rest of our lives together. Thank you for asking me to marry you, and for choosing to spend your life with me.
Well, I haven't thought I would marry the same person twice. It has been a wonderful journey. Thank you to my amazing wife, Katie, for loving me and all of my nerdiness, for eating way more pasta than you would have ever anticipated in your whole life. This has been better than anything, these last 6 years have been better than anything I could have asked for. And thank you. And I cannot wait to spend the rest of these years with you.
So cheers to you all for coming, and thank you very much. I forgot the glasses.
Well, they're my daughter. We had to
We have to have a paper.
I get to start.
I know. On paper.
Page 3 of the dissertation starts, because I know we're between you and food.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say, good evening to everybody. And first of all, I want to thank all of you, our family, our friends, and our new family for joining us and coming together to celebrate the union of Katie and Jaden. It's been a while. The celebration's been delayed, but we've finally made it. Not only do we have friends and family from the Midwest, but also from both coasts as well. In fact, half of our wedding party from 1989 is present today. Thank you all for being part of this special occasion. For the last 6 years, it has been wonderful watching Katie and Jaden's relationship grow. Fortunately, football tailgating, with our tailgate crew in the back, was a wonderful routine to actually see both Katie and the trombone man together on an almost weekly basis. I look forward to watching the two grow and mature through the ages and their relationship, and I wholeheartedly welcome Jaden to the family. He is a trooper and has great patience. Having myself lived 20 years in a household with 4 women, Jaden has shown great resilience, a term that I have learned from COVID. In taking the banter of Charlotte, Isabel, Katie, and this wonderful woman right here. It's always a joy as a parent to see your children succeed and be happy. And it is clear that Katie and Jaden are very happy. So we look forward to their continued accomplishments. And now, to my better half for a couple stories.
Okay. First of all, I am overjoyed that Jaden has become a part of our family, but I also want to thank all of his family because I know how much you've been a part of him, and I am truly honored to now be part of your family. You might be seeing me more than you thought, but I know that all of you have brought that to Jaden, and he's come to us, and we feel lucky to have him. So I'm going to tell you a little story about our first conversation that Katie and I had when she introduced me and told me about Jaden. She, of course, had someone else at the tailgate, but we ignored that person. It was the spring of her sophomore year. That was in 2015. And she called me on the phone, which she did occasionally, and said, I've met this guy that I really like. And I said, oh, well, go ahead, tell me about him. And she said, he's a great guy. I really think you'll like him. I like him a lot. I'm like, okay, well, you are a sophomore, but let's not get crazy. And I said, well, okay, tell me why. And she said, first, he's a science major, biochemistry. Woo! I was so excited. I'm a biology person. We're biology people. And Katie is an English teacher, and it's really hard for me to think about how I'm going to talk about foreshadowing and book stuff, and I don't know what that is. And I'll be honest, even that reading The Velvet Rabbitine, I was like, I don't know what that is. And then she's like, Mom. And then today I got it today. Okay, but I didn't get it before. I was like, what is this? So I was glad to have a science person and that we could have some discussions, which we do. It's fabulous. I love the Eon reference. So then I said, well, that's nice. I like science. And she says, yes, but he's also an Eagle Scout. And in my head, I said, yes, he has survival skills in case there's a pandemic. I know you think I didn't think that, but I did in 2015. And so I was just like, yes, we're going to survive with him. Then also I figured that he would be really into camping, and that's a good thing because she's a poor school teacher, and that's going to be great vacations. So then I said, well, you know how I love scouts, and you're a Girl Scout, so that seems like a good match. And she said, but Mom, best of all, he plays the trombone and is in the Spartan marching band. And I said, why did you not tell me that first? That is exactly the best guy ever. I don't care about the other things. He's in the Spartan marching band. He's like a rock star. Oh my God. So I knew that all of these things were perfect. Once we got to know Jaden over the past 5 or 6 years, we have enjoyed to see how much he has become a solid member of the Cox family. This means putting him to work in various household tasks like chopping wood and stacking wood, or putting the boat lift in away at the end of the season, which by one time I said to him, "Come on, get in the water, be like a real Michigander, it's cold, I know you can do it." He's like, "I am a real Michigander." Oh. So, I didn't realize that, forgot. So he's also built up a tolerance of spicy food and will take on challenges of hot sauces, which is a big step in our family. And he has also been able to put up with a lot of teasing and jokes. The dreidel was a lot of times we talk about dreidel, and yes, we do give him Hanukkah and Jewish-themed gifts every year at Christmas. But he's become a marvelous addition to our family. We know that he'll be an outstanding, curious, devoted, enthusiastic, sweet, loving, caring. I could go on. And we know that both Katie and him have many incredible adventures and milestones ahead, and that we're all excited for that future with them. To quote Irving Stone, "The best romance is inside the marriage. The finest love stories come after the wedding, not before." So raise your glasses to the lovely couple, to the beautiful bride, and the newest member of the Cox family. To Katie, I need something to do. Okay, well, to Katie and Jaden. Cheers. All right. And
once again, ladies and gentlemen, a nice round of applause for all of our great hosts this evening. And now, for table 4 and for our bride and groom, I have this.